Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. So we're in the middle of the actors' strike, or maybe it's in the middle, who knows? It could go on forever, it could be about to end, I don't know. But something that really annoyed me that I heard Robert Meyer Burnett and John Campea saying, because they're both producers, so I don't think they're really objective. They're taking the studio side of it more. They were talking about AI, and they're basically saying that, the actors are being ridiculous. They don't need to have all these protections because they're not just going to, like, the idea that they're just going to film someone once and then they're going to use them forever without their permission, that they'd never do that. They'd never use anyone's, image without permission. I'm like, are you kidding me? How many times has this happened? I've seen this happen a million times. And just over the last couple of weeks, or last couple of days, over the last week, I've been watching a lot of the interviews with the actors from the Friday the 13th series. And so many of them have this story where, and it wasn't CGI, but it was just, their likeness that had been used, and they weren't given credit for it, and they weren't paid for it until some fan came up to them and made them aware of something they didn't know about because the studios didn't tell them, their management didn't know, and they had to go to the studio and fight with the studio to get the money, and they ended up getting paid. The main example was Friday the 13th Part 4 had a little sort of ghost story at the start where they're talking about Jason, and they show all footage from Friday the 13th Part 1, 2 and 3. And apparently, allegedly, supposedly, Paramount, don't sue me, like they know I exist, whatever, they didn't tell any of the actors, by the way, we put you in our film. And even when one of the actors actually, because several actors were made aware of this, because fans would come up and say, I love that you're in this and this, I love the scene in this and this. I wasn't in that film. He said, yeah, you're at the start. And he's like, what? One of the actors actually went to Paramount and said, you're not in the film. He said, yeah, I am. I'm at the start. He had to get someone actually do it like a time code and thing and show them and send them and said, oh, yeah, of course. Once they knew, but they made him prove it before they'd pay him. Then he got paid out for 20 years of residuals. And so did some of the other actors. But they did this, and this is no accident, in my humble opinion. They knew what they were doing. They were just like, just don't tell them. We won't have to pay them if they don't know. Just put it in there. And that's what they do. I've seen this happen a bunch of times over the years where they've just used someone's likeness, used old footage of someone, or used a lookalike or someone, and not told the actor. And it wasn't until someone in the fan community or an interviewer or a reporter or someone let them know about this. Then they went to the studio and it's like, oh yeah, here's your residuals. Something they sold to like a channel and they didn't, tell, and then they go and say, I'm sorry, where's my cut for this? And we know this happened with Paramount, with, Leonard Nimoy. He wasn't going to be in phase 2 because he was, not only was he still suing Paramount for them not paying him out for the money, they were getting money for his likeness and taking money for campaigns and things and not giving him his share, but also he was just not happy. So he wasn't going to be in phase 2 because of that. And William Shatner was suing for the same things for a while there. This has happened a million times, and the idea that they wouldn't do this with AI, like, they'll use artwork or the actual already filmed scenes and shots and photos of actors without their permission, not letting them know, not paying them until they argue and prove their point and win, like they wouldn't do this with AI creations. That's just either completely naive, delusional, or they are just, on the studio side and trying to gaslight their audience and say, of course they'd never do this. They don't need these protections. The studios. Are you kidding me? I heard that and I was like, and then I had a whole bunch of examples of, and I'm like, you know what? I knew if I did a video about that, didn't have an example, some idiot in my comments would be like, where's your examples? Cite your examples or you're wrong. Like, I don't need to cite the example to be right. You can go find it yourself. It's there. It exists. I'm talking about facts. It helps when you can point them out, but it doesn't make them not exist just because you don't mention them. But people always try and do that, like, unless you can show me where the example is, I'm going to pretend like because I know it exists, but I'm going to pretend like it doesn't to try and make you look bad or prove you wrong or whatever, or gaslight you. Because if you don't know, I'm going to just lie and hide the fact that I know what it is. So you get these people and they're like that. I just don't engage anymore. I just say, I'm not engaging. You're trolling. I'm not doing this. Sorry. Because at the end of my videos, I say, like, share and subscribe, let me know what you think. But I sort of only mean that if you have something non-troll like to say. Like, if you disagree with me, fine. If you want to argue, fine. But if you're just there to argue and you can say anything and you can dismiss what I've said or what you know just for the sake of arguing or being right, and there are people who just live for that. They just live to, fight and argue, and they will lie just for the sake of it. And those people, I have no time for you. And I'm getting better at not giving them time in my comment section because I want to be nice. I say, let me know what you think, and I appreciate the people who comment. It's not a lot, but I appreciate them, so I don't want to, not respond. But if someone's just trolling, it's obvious. I'm just going to say, look, you're trolling, I'm not going to engage. And if they keep doing it, I'm just going to put a full stop down. Because what happens is, if you don't respond, the comment keeps coming up as unanswered, and every time you check, it keeps coming up. The only way to get rid of it is to comment. But I used to do that, but now it's like, I just realised I don't actually have to write a comment. I can just put a full stop, and that is considered a response, and then I'm not expending energy on this person if they're just, a troll, bothering me for the sake of it. So basically, if you get a full stop, it means I know you're a troll, so give it up. But yeah, otherwise, I'm really happy to hear what people say. I want, lots of comments. It's fun. It's interesting. People tell me things I don't know. They correct me. It's all good. But not if you're a troll.